Vietnamese, Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle, do you set to the English channel
Not
interpretation?
yet. Okay, not yet. Okay, I'll try.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
Yes, Seattle. Seattle, are you ready to start the Dhamma talk?
Okay. Now we can start.
Yes. Vietnamese, Seattle. Good evening, everyone. Good morning for everyone in the East Hemisphere. Welcome to the 7-day plus 14-day Samatha-Vipassanā Meditation Retreat conducted by Sarah U. Agania and Sarah U. Kovida. Today, Sarah U. Kovida will continue with the Dhamma talk on Bojjhanga Sutta Part 5. May we respectfully invite Sarah to start today's Dhamma talk, and may we invite both interpreter Bande to start the translation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Now we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Today we are going to talk about Dhammavicaya Sambojjhanga. So when we are going to talk about Dhammavicaya Sambojjhanga, we should also know the definitions of Dhammavicaya. Vicaya means examining, searching, or investigating. So Dhamma means the Four Noble Truths. Okay, here I should introduce one new thing. Whenever we talk about Dhamma or we see Dhamma, merely Dhamma, at the time we can say Four Noble Truths. Without Four Noble Truths, we cannot say the Dhamma. We have one statement. Chadu Satya Vinimuddho Dhammo Namanati. There's no Dhamma without Four Noble Truths. So now we can also understand investigating the Four Noble Truths or examining Four Noble Truths or searching the Four Noble Truths. So this is also have the nature of wisdom. So that means according to Abhidhamma, whenever we talk about Dhammavicaya, it means it's a wisdom or Banya. Without wisdom, we cannot investigate. So another thing here, whenever we talk about Banya or Dhammavicaya, it must be for the welfare of ourselves. It must be wholesome. It must be for the welfare of other living beings. So if we just investigate many other unnecessary things or unwholesome things, it's not Dhammavicaya. Mostly there are some people, they also have knowledge or they also think about many other things, then it's not that much beneficial for other people because this is wicked minds, not wisdom. But anyway, whenever we talk about Dhammavicaya, we must know Panya, wisdom. Now the characteristics. Yatha Sabhava Bhati Veda Lakano, penetrating Dhammas or things according to their intrinsic nature, individual actions. So that means we will know the Dhamma clearly. Also, we may penetrate to the Dhamma or things very clearly. Then Akalita Bhativeda Lakano wa Kusali Sasa Kita Usu Bhativedoviya, or short penetration. That means the characteristic is short penetration. Like the penetration of an arrow shot by a skillful archer. Yeah, we have to explain something about this part. At the time of the Buddha, there are many skillful archers. The Buddha himself also very skillful archer when we go and see in the Buddha Vansa. Some of the archer, although they have very fine thread, they can split into two pieces with their arrow. They can shoot to split into two pieces, even very fine threads, like hair, head hair, for example. Or maybe like cotton wool, or maybe some like sheep wool. Then, although it's very small threads, they can penetrate, they can split into two pieces. That's why here the example is an arrow shot by a skillful archer. That means we can penetrate to the Dhamma very deeply. Surely all these very minor things we can understand. This is called Akalita Pariveda. So that means in the case of Four Noble Truths, we will know everything in detail, not roughly, right? But sometimes we just know roughly, not that much in detail. Anyway, when we have very strong wisdom faculties, we can know everything clearly. Then the next part. Visyo Bhasa Raso Diboviya, to illuminate the object like a lamp. This is the functions of wisdom. So that means it will illuminate the object, then it will show the object clearly, like a lamp. So in the dark room, we cannot see clearly, but if we have oil lamp or any other lamp, now we have electrical things also, right? Then any kind of lamp, any kind of lighting, now we can see clearly. So wisdom is like the light. Dhamma is also like the light that can show the object clearly. Asam wasana baju patano araka, aranya gada. So the Sakoviya. This is a manifestation. Its manifestation as clarity of perspective, lucid discernment, like a good guide in the forest. So when we are going around the forest, on the safari or something, then we need tourist guides, a good tourist guide. Otherwise, we may get lost. Similarly, wisdom is like tourist guides. We cannot get lost when we have wisdom. But sometimes we analyze or investigate, but we get lost. We cannot know what to do at the end. So practically, now in your practice, anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, if you analyze too much, you may get confused. You will get lost. Finally, you cannot focus on the breath anymore. But in the case of Dhamma-vichaya, it makes your mind clearer. You can know the object clearly. You may have clear visions, clear discernment. Then we have the Dhamma-vichaya. Okay, here I also skip the proximate cause of wisdom. The proximate cause of Dhamma-vichaya or proximate cause of wisdom is concentration. So if we have a good concentration, we can know and see everything clearly. That means our concentration will support wisdom. That's why we also have to establish concentration. Okay, here again, everywhere a skillful and knowledgeable person achieve everything he wants. So that means when we have wisdom, we also know what to do, what not to do. We also know how to do, also how not to do. That's why we become skillful and knowledgeable. Sometimes all the knowledge also comes from experiences. But anyway, if we are skillful, we can achieve whatever thing we like or we want. If you wish to attain jhana, it's also possible. You just need to be skillful and knowledgeable. If you wish to attain path and fruition knowledge, it's also possible. So people are always upgrading their knowledge and skill by learning many different things and training many different ways. Actually, we have many different training courses in modern society. Even language training, physical training, also like life coach, or many different types of trainings. So anyway, we have to upgrade our knowledge and skill. Sometimes we are doing the same things every day. We have done something a few years ago. We cannot improve. Just keep doing the same things every day. In the case of meditation also, it's the same. We can do many different things. Actually, we can improve our concentration many different ways. But sometimes we cannot give up our previous practice. I remember one question in US in 2019. One of the yogi asked, if I come to PATVDH, what should I do? And he also asked this kind of question. So I just asked, do you have any meditation experience? He said, yes. Okay, I remember one story. There are two students come to the musician. The musician is teaching the harp. Harp is special instrument made of the mostly threads, mostly we use. Then we play like guitar. But in Myanmar, we also have Myanmar traditional harp. Actually, every different country, even China and Vietnam, they also have their own traditional harp. Anyway, two students are going to learn harp, how to play harp from a teacher. The teacher also asks, do you have any knowledge, basic knowledge about playing a harp? Then one of the students say, no, I don't have any basic knowledge. Okay, if you don't have basic knowledge, just please give me. All right, fight. Okay, now according to US tradition, we can say $5, right? Then another one say, yes, I have a basic knowledge. Then you must give $10. Then he also complained, why? He doesn't have basic knowledge, only $5. I have basic knowledge, $10. Why? Of course, I have to change your habit first. This will take longer time. That's why you have to pay me $10. Right? So similarly, sometimes we have past habits. I'm also come from other traditions. So we have many past habits. If we're gonna train, so we will go to past habits. Because all the things are very familiar with us. We don't wish to accept new challenges. So that means whenever we go to another tradition, it's new challenges. So we have to train ourselves to be familiar with new challenges as long as it can improve our concentration, our wisdom. So the main thing is we have to train to be skillful, to be more knowledgeable, to have more experiences. In the case of the Dhamma, the wise and good person can achieve any kind of attainment. So here we have to say, wise and good person. We must be wise. This is the one thing. Sometimes we are not really very good. We are doing many bad things that we cannot achieve anything. So in every single enlightenment factors, we also need wise attention. Also, we are doing good. Sometimes, although we have good intentions, but we don't do very good. We are not doing very well. In this case, we cannot achieve higher attainment. So we must also have good intention, wise attention. We must also doing well to achieve how we aim. This is also important in Dhamma Vicaya. Then again, we just like the light. If there's a wisdom, we can see things such they truly are. So I have already mentioned about the light in the definitions of the Lakkhana or Rasa Bajjhana. I have already talked about the light, right? the function is illuminate the objects like the lamp, right? So anyway, when we have the light, we can see the objects clearly. Even and a few days ago, I just studied anything, right? I don't have the light here. That's why it's a little bit dim or dark color. That when we have the light, we can see everything clearly. Anyway, the main thing is, if we wish to see things as they really are, then we must have the light of wisdom. If we have the light of wisdom, we can see it. Then again, if we investigate unnecessary things, listen to many people's sayings, such as explanation or focus on the meditation object, and we cannot improve anymore, focusing with confusion with many theories, ideas, thoughts, analyzing how far, how near, how big, how small the breath is. So sometimes it's very messy instructions. We don't have a clear approach. So sometimes we have many theories more than practice. So when I teach meditation, I also explain sometimes. In Buddha teaching, we also have Desanakama, the order of teaching. It's not the order of practice. So sometimes people get confused these two things, the order of practice and the order of teaching. When we are going to practice, we must follow the order of practice. We must not follow the order of teaching. Not only that, sometimes we also say Upapadikama or Pavatikama, the order of arising. For example, now you have someone, the meditator has already experienced the light. So when we see the light, this is the order up. Then you may also see many other things like the color, the shape, the location. You may also have a rapture, joy, tranquility. All things are happening naturally. They are arising naturally. They are called the order of arising. Even in the very beginning of Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha mentioned 4 different steps: long breath, short breath, whole breath body, and tranquilizing the breath body. These are the order of arising. So as they arise, we have to follow, we have to practice. Anyway, the main thing is sometimes we get confused with many theories, many ideas, many thoughts given by many different people, and we cannot improve anymore. That is why, in the case of investigation, we must analyze necessary things. For example, in the case of Anapanasati, we don't recommend to focus on any individual characteristics such as heat, cold, hardness, roughness, heaviness, softness, smoothness, and many other things. We don't also recommend to focus on the warm or heat or cold. If we focus on many different things, it's not Anapanasati anymore. Our mind will go to many other things. It will be endless. So we have to cut all other focusing, all other obvious characteristics or other obvious nature. Just keep knowing breathing simply. Again, we also have another example. Another example is that we try to understand the nimitta, investigating how the light or nimitta appears, how can attain jhana by merely focusing on the breath, thinking how possible is it to discern mentality and materialities. It just increases doubt. We cannot improve concentration. Actually, there's actually many questions like that. Whenever I talk about the light, right? By focusing on the breathing, if you see the light, don't focus on the light, just keep knowing breathing, for example, when I give this kind of instructions in the very beginning of retreat. Sometimes I also give anapanasati from the very beginning until like seeing the nimitta, step by step. Then whenever I talk about the light, they also ask, is it imaginary or is it real? So they cannot understand or they cannot accept that kind of theory or that kind of practice. Actually, it's not theory, it's a practice. So some of the practice are not theory. No, that means by using any logic, we cannot understand that one. It's beyond imaginary. So we cannot believe if we don't have any experiences. Okay, the main thing is sometimes by analyzing or by investigating, it just increases the doubts. So if you analyze breathing too much, you may have a doubt about the breathing. Finally, you cannot focus on the breath very well. That is why it's also important not to investigate unnecessary things. Then again, in brief, we should also know what to investigate and what not to investigate in order that we may have less doubt and more confidence. There are many things beyond our imaginations in Buddha's teaching. So one more thing here. I have already mentioned what to investigate in Dhammavicaya Sambojjhanga. So in this case, we have to understand ultimate reality. For example, what about aggregates? What about mentalities, materialities, bases, elements, controlling faculties, or sense faculties? All the things we can investigate how and why. So if we investigate many unnecessary things, we cannot improve anymore. So we must know what to investigate, what not to investigate. This is also important. So I have already mentioned there are many things beyond our imagination. There are many, many other things. For example, this body is made of small particles, right? We cannot imagine, but by the power of concentration, we can see it. If we imagine, it cannot last long. If we just know naturally, see naturally, it will last long. In modern society, to be simple is more difficult than to be complicated. Right now, people like complicated things. They have many, many complicated ideas, complicated way of thinking. But when we say, make it simple, they don't know how to be simple. Many times when I say, trying to know breathing simply and naturally, they also ask, Bhante, what is the natural breathing? What do you mean simple? Then I have to answer. If I say, in breath and out breath, it just means in breath and out breath. Don't do more than that. Don't try to know more than that. This means simple. What does it mean natural? Again, natural means as you are breathing in your daily life, you must breathe in, breathe out. This is natural. If you do some extra efforts, if you make some extra efforts, if you try to know many things, minor detail about breathing, then it will be the problem. It's not natural. So we must be simple. We must be natural when we are meditating. When we have very simple minds, very natural focusing, we can improve faster. Sometimes it takes time to understand the simple and the natural. When they themselves experience some conditions, then I guess, I mean natural me like this, simple me like this. Anyway, the main thing is, Dhammavicaya means it must not be messy and complicated. It should be simple. Although we analyze too much, sometimes it becomes very messy. We cannot find proper way, just messy, complicated in our minds, just doubts. So that is why when we are going to develop the Enlightenment Factor of Dhammavicaya, we must also know what to investigate, what not to investigate. If we can do properly, we can improve. The 7 things lead to the arising of these enlightenment factors. The enlightenment factor investigating Dhamma. Kenon Paripuchakanta, inquiring about the aggregates, basis, element, faculty, power, enlightenment fetters, noble paths, samatha, and vipassana. Yeah, I just list out what's inquiring. What kind of question should we ask? Okay, it depends on the practice also, because these are just for vipassana practitioners. Okay, one more thing for your information. You may have read Samatha-Vipassanā Sutta. There are many chapters in Samatha-Vipassanā Sutta. In Kayanupassana Satipatthana, we have 2 chapters, 4 posture, and a clear comprehension. These 2 chapters are not for beginners. You must remember this one. Another part, in the Dhammanupassana, we have 2 chapters again. Nirvana Papa, the chapter of hindrances, and Bojjhanga Papa, the chapter of enlightenment fetters. These 2 are not for beginners. So anyway, it's not for beginners. Some of them are for beginners also. It will be useful for beginners, but not all of them are not for beginners. We have to understand. Okay, now the 7 enlightenment fetters. Actually, these are not for beginners. Maybe some of them are useful for beginners. We cannot say all of them are useful for beginners. Later, I have to explain something about Bojjhanga. It will be too long. You can do many things in your meditation. Okay, the main thing is inquiring, or we can say questioning. When we ask questions, just ask useful questions for the practice. Sometimes we just ask many questions about theory, not useful in daily life. It just may confuse, right? Especially for beginners. They cannot know clearly, that it makes just confusion. So although we talk about Paripujaka, inquiring or questioning, we must be wise enough to ask proper questions. For example, when we are practicing Anapanasati, we can ask many things about Anapanasati. When we are going to practice Vipassana, we can ask many questions about mentalities, materialities, and many other things. As here, I had mentioned here, aggregates, basics, elements, faculties, all these are just for Vipassana. When we are practicing Vipassana, we can know one of these things. All these things can be the object of Vipassana. For example, we have to contemplate 5 decades as anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanent, suffering, non-self. So from time to time, we also have to develop the enlightenment fetters. That's why when we ask a question, we must know what to ask, what not to ask for our practice. So if we know how to ask and what to ask, then it will be useful for our practice. Just many curiosity about many unnecessary things in current conditions, just increasing the doubt. Okay, now we have the next one. We must know what to ask and what not to ask. There are many unclear points of meditation, such as the appearance of nimittas, hindrances to improvement, and the arising of assets and jhana, intensity of meditation, and so on. So these are the points we must learn for questioning. For example, the appearance of nimitta. How nimitta appear? When nimitta appear, what to do? These kind of questions are actually useful for the meditators, especially when we see the nimitta, or when we start seeing the light. That's sure we may have some curiosity. And you may ask this kind of question. This is useful. Another thing is hindrances to improvement. Actually, there are many hindrances. We have already mentioned like 7 hindrances: Kamacchana Nirvana, sensual desire, the Bhayabhata Nirvana, aversions or evil. So when we have that kind of defilements, that kind of hindrances, then we will not improve our concentration. That is why we must learn what are the hindrances to improvement. Then also the arising of asset and jhana. Now, when we have nimitta, we also should know what is the asset concentration, what is the jhana. So many people also ask, in the case of what is the difference between asset and jhana absorption? So in the case of asset concentrations, our controlling faculties are not strong, not mature yet. You may fall into Bojjhanga state frequently. This is one thing. Then all the assets and jhana, both asset and jhana can overcome hindrances. But jhana factors in assets not so powerful yet. The jhana factors in jhana factor in asset concentration not powerful yet. Jhana factors in asset the absorption is powerful. So we have to know all these kind of points and clear points in the meditation. Not only that, impurity of meditation. Actually, in the case of anapanasati, there are many, many impurities mentioned in Bodhisattva. I will give one example. Even when I give meditation instructions, I also explain these two. Don't follow inside your body, don't follow outside your body. In Pali, we call ajata vikipa, restlessness internally, if we follow inside the body. We also have bahita vikipa, restlessness externally. That means when we follow outside our body, very far from our nostril, this is also called impurity of meditation. Another thing is like impatience. Sometimes we have very long breathing, then very slow breathing. Sometimes the breathing is not very equal, not very balanced. In-breath becomes very long, out-breath is short. Sometimes the out-breath is very long, the in-breath is very short. When this kind of thing happens, then we must be more patient. So that means whether we have very long in-breath or very long out-breath, or both of them are very long, we must be patient. If we are impatient, we cannot improve. Sometimes the breath becomes very subtle. When we have very subtle breath also, we must be patient. If we are impatient, we cannot improve. This is also called impurity. So impatience is impurity. Actually, there are many, many other things. Sometimes we just get confused with the touching points, the in-breath, the out-breath, right? Sometimes you're going to know the touching points. You get confused. Is it touching point or not? Sometimes breathing in and breathing out, you get also confused. That all the things can be considered as impurity. So we must learn what is the impurity, what is the hindrances, how nimitta appear, how jhana arise, how we can attain asset concentration, what will be the difference between all these things. When we have this kind of necessary questions, it will be supporting cause of our improvement. This is also important for the practitioners. Then it should also be listening, discussing, questioning, and learning Dhamma according to the Pali text. But sometimes we listen to the Dhamma. Now you also listen to the Dhamma talks, right? We also have discussion, and questioning, and learning Dhamma. Actually, listening means we must listen carefully, respectfully. We must try to understand the Buddha's teaching. In the case of discussions, of course, we have to find the solution. Sometimes instead of finding a solution, just make a problem. We can also say that kind of thing as a discussion. Questioning, I have already mentioned what to ask, what not to ask. Then learning Dhamma. In ancient time, at the time of the Buddha, when we are going to learn Pali text or something, then we just learn by heart. Teacher also say Bhavali. We also have to repeat Bhavali. Then we have to memorize by heart. But now in modern society, we have many books. We have physical books. We also have hard copy. We also have soft copy. We can read in the tablet, iPad, also in the MacBook, in the Windows computer. Anywhere we can read many different things. We can study many things. Okay, the main thing is when we listen, discuss, question, or learn the Dhamma, this is also called one of the way of Dhamma Vichaya. If we can learn very well, we can overcome the doubt also. Sometimes after learning many different things, you get confused. You have a lot of doubt. That means you have something improper learning. Maybe the subjects are not very suitable for you, or you may need proper teacher. Okay, now we have to go to what to Visada Kiriya. The purifications of basis, the basis. Actually, this kind of message can be found in many different parts. Even when we talk about jhana, apana kosala, that was key in absorption, we can also find similar passage. Utu Visara Kiriya. So, namely, the cleaning of the body, clothes, and dwellings. This is just brief in the introduction. So, if hairs, nails, and birds are long, the mind will always go there. For example, now, when you meditate, you have very long nails. When you touch your hands, and sometimes your fingernail will touch your skin, right? You may feel a bit of pain. Like you may remember, oh, my fingernails are very long. My toenails are very long. Just remembering this one. Similarly, if I don't shave, right, then very long hair, long birds, then we may also, our mind also inclined to there most of the time. We cannot meditate very well. So that means if you have that kind of inclinations or remembering, you should settle all these things first. After handling all these things, you can meditate. It will be better. If the body and clothes and dwellings are unclean or old or smelly, the mind will not always know the meditation's objects. This is also one of the things. Some body is a lot of sweat, a lot of sweaty. We also have like a very smelly. Then mind is not very clear. Our mind will go to the body or smell. Similarly, the clothes also very smelly, or dwelling is also very smelly, unclean or old, then our mind will go there most of the time. We cannot meditate very well. In the case of Utu Visara, we have to clean our environment. We have to also clean our body. This is called Utu Visara Kriya. Then, Indriya Samatha-Vipassanā, imparting evenness to the 5 spiritual controlling faculties. So here in this case, we must balance the controlling faculties. So we have 5 controlling faculties: the faith, saddha, efforts, viriya, mindfulness, sati, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, panya. So these 5 are called controlling faculties. They are also called spiritual power. If one of the faculties is very predominant or very powerful, the other cannot perform their respective functions. So if I give another example, in your cooking, you may put a lot of salt into your soup or curry. It's spoiling the taste also. Sometimes you don't put any salt, then it also can spoil the taste. Similarly, you may put a lot of wine, add a lot of wine into the soup or curry, it can spoil. No wine also not that much tasty. Now you also use many different vegetables in one soup. Then not many other ingredients. Okay, one more thing. When you cook something, you must have proper amount of ingredients in the soup or in the curry. Similarly, when we are meditating, we must have proper quality, proper power of these 5 controlling faculties. If one of them becomes very excessive, very powerful, then all other things cannot work properly. then we cannot have better improvement, or we don't have better concentration. Okay, sorry. We should talk about the faith here. Saddha. We have 4 different kinds of faith, 4 different kind of saddha. Religious faith, Agamana saddha. It's a comprehensive faith in the teaching of the Buddha, possessed by Bodhisattva and noble disciples. So Bodhisattva, he had very strong faith that he could practice very well. He believed his ability. He believed his aim and goal. That is why he could practice very well. Sometimes, although we have very strong faith in our ability, but our target, our aim, our ambitions, our goal is unclear, we cannot practice well. So faith is also important. Saddha is also important. For example, in the case of Bodhisattva, he believed Buddhahood. He believed enlightenment factors. He believed his ability to fulfill all types of parami. That's why he could do everything very well. The acquired faith, Adhikama Saddha, it is acquired by realizations of path and fruition, Megaphala. So when we can realize path and fruition knowledge, our saddha becomes firm and stable. It's unchangeable saddha. Then we have the next one, determining faith, Akapana saddha. It is an severed or absolute convention by which one relies and depends on the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So that means it's very strong and determining faith. That we also believe Buddha's quality, Dhamma's quality, Sangha's quality. It's also unshakable, ajala faith in the quality of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, with attitudes described as is so, even it down. So the main thing is that this kind of faith is unshakable. We can also say unchangeable. But one more thing, sometimes we believe many wrong things, also unchangeable, unshakable. In this kind of case, we cannot say it is really faith, right? We just grasp something. Like sometimes we also believe in a wrong view, wrong idea. Also very strong faith in it. In this kind of case, we cannot say saddha. In the case of saddha, it must be something beneficial for our practice. It must be something practical for our life. For example, 3 trainings. So mostly when we talk about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, in every religion, they also encourage their follower to believe in their God. But in Buddhism, not only believing in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, actually, we also have many other things. For example, sila, morality. We must believe in the morality or the benefit of morality. I think some of you may have attended Singapore retreats, right? I have already talked about morality. If we are moral, we can save more money. I have already said that one, right? For example, now you may undertake egg research. You don't have jhana. I don't know how much does it cost for you for jhana in USA. I think it will cost, right? A lot. So now you don't eat jhana, you can save more money. This is an example. So there are many other cases, right? The main thing is we must believe in the benefits of morality. Actually, it's beneficial for ourselves. It's also beneficial for all other people in our community. For example, if we don't kill any living beings, they can survive. Another thing is that they will not have fear of death. Almost all the living beings have fear of death. Then when they have fear of death, sure, they dare not approach anybody, any other living beings. So if we don't kill any living beings, they can also sense our metta. Then they may not scared of human being, like in Paodoya, many white chicken. They don't scare bhikkhus anymore because we don't kill. Right? Mostly white chicken, when seeing people, they were flying away very far. Okay, the main thing is we must believe in morality and the benefit of morality. Similarly, we must believe in concentration and the benefit of concentration. We must believe in wisdom trainings, especially vipassana. Now, also we must believe in the benefit of vipassana. So when we have actually given faith of all these things, we can say determined faith. Just believe in this, believe in that is not determined faith. It will be another part. Inspired faith, Passada Sutta, is non-committal liking and respect for the teaching of the Buddha. Okay, now it is also insufficiently strong not to alternate with skepticism and liking, respect for also teaching of other teachers. It cannot support full commitment to the threefold trainings, although it can support great offering and even ordinations. This is just a sample. Actually, we have many inspired faith in modern society. We believe something very deeply, but it's not that much beneficial for our improvement. Sometimes we are doing the same things every day, every year, but we cannot improve. We still believe it will helpful. It will be helpful. It will make us improve. Okay, the main thing is, inspired faith can be anywhere in any religion. So their mind is shaken all the time, not like the previous one. Shaken means if one teacher say, you don't need to observe precepts, morality is not important, then he also believes that kind of teacher. Or you don't need to do consideration, it's not important, also believe that kind of teacher. You don't need to know Nama Rupas that much in detail, he or he may also follow that kind of teacher. So the mind is easy to change here and there. They may believe in many different things. Very easy to believe. This is called inspired faith, Passada Sutta. So it will be useful for sometimes, because it also can be wrong belief in any conditions. So although we say Sutta, this we call Miya Sutta, not powerful Sutta. So this kind of Sutta cannot support our practice that much. When we are determining faith, it will be very strong supporting cause of meditation. Okay, here one more thing. Even among the Buddhists, we have many other Passada Sutta. Even maybe the first day, I think, right? One lady asked me about arhats with bank cards or ATM cards. Actually, there are many types of belief like that. For example, I also have read many stories about arhats in different countries, like in Myanmar or in Thailand or any other countries. And they declare that they are arhats. But when I read, I cannot believe. For example, one of the case, right? One Mahathira, he declared that he was an arhat. But he also said, when he attained arhatship, many Buddha come and embrace him. He had that kind of statement in his books. I was surprised. Buddha has already entered Nibbana. They cannot come back anymore. But he said, many Buddha come and embrace him. So many people also believe that kind of the declaration, right? This is called Passada Sutta. Even they don't know is it true or untruth. They don't consider anymore, just believe it. This is called Passada Sutta. Very easy to believe. In Myanmar or in other countries, there are many Buddha relics. They say the Buddha relics, this Buddha relics. This is the original Buddha relics. And they also say like that. many truth relics, many relics of the Buddha. Some of them will be truth, some of them will be untruth. And sometimes, when they say Buddha relics very big, I know the size of Buddha relics according to the text. Then I cannot believe that kind of things. Anyway, the main thing is they may believe in many different things like fake relics, fake arahats, without any consideration, without any thinking. Just believe easily. This is called inspired faith, etc. So they may have very strong faith, but not that much useful for their practice. Okay, now, in the case of predominant faiths, it mentioned the story of Venerable Kovida. In the case of efforts, the story of Sona. I actually elaborate a little bit more. You may have known Venerable Kovida. He had very strong faith in the Buddha, very strong belief. Whenever the Buddha visited, he follows. He just sit in front of the Buddha, just see Buddha appearance. He was happy with this. You may know very well-known statements of the Buddha. Vakali, who see the Dhamma, see me. This words. Actually, this Buddha addressed this statement to Venerable Vakali. So, although he was sitting and looking at the Buddha, gazing at the Buddha, he cannot see the Buddha if he cannot see the Dhamma. Buddha means like this way. So he has very strong faith. He cannot improve. Just follow the Buddha like this. Then finally, Buddha had to force him to practice that he could attain arhatship. So in the case of Venerable Sona, his body is very soft. Even his palms, his body hair in the palms, in the leg also, in the feet, also there's body hairs. So he just grew up in the luxurious place, in the luxurious family. After ordination, he meditates very diligently. Then when he do walking meditation, then his foot was swelling in the very beginning. Later, the past blister. There was a lot of blood. Whenever he do walking, a lot of blood smear on the walking path. Finally, he cannot walk. He just knee down and he just walk on the knees. We can also imagine how diligent he was. But he could not attain anything. Finally, the Buddha encouraged him to balance the efforts and the concentration. He could improve. Okay, now, if wisdom is strong and faith is weak, he can be a wicked man, like a disease caused by medicine is uncure. So you may have already known this kind of statement, right? Some diseases are caused by medicine. It's not that easy to cure. Again, if the faith is so powerful, the meditator should develop efforts and other enlightenment factors instead of developing faith. Okay, here we have two different angles, wisdom and faith. We must balance these two. Sometimes we have very much analysis. We can analyze everything very well. Sometimes we don't have confidence. Then it will be the problem. We may have a wicked person. We don't believe anything easily. Although it's trustworthy, we don't believe. Sometimes we have very strong saddha, very strong faith, but we don't have wisdom. We may believe many things easily. This is also one of the side effects. For example, everywhere, in many Buddhist countries, we also have similar problem. They have very strong faith, but lack of wisdom. They offer many different unnecessary things. Oh, okay, one more thing I remember. Maybe previous February, one of the meditators from Cambodia came to Pahutoya. He also offered a kuti. A kuti means a monastery, small kuti, small living place for the meditators. Then after offering, then the next day, he came to see me and he asked some special question. In our monastery in PATVDH, we also allow many different donors, but sometimes they may offer only a piece of garlic to every bhikkhu. We have 500 bhikkhus, so he may need 500 pieces of garlic. Sometimes they offer only a piece of onion to every bhikkhu. So that means always a piece of onion, it will be 500 onions, right? Similarly, garbage, only a piece of garbage, a leaf, for example, right? Just take out a leaf, offer every single bhikkhu, garbage. We also allow any of you donors like this. Then he asked me, Bhante, how can we do this kind of dana? Now, how you allow this kind of donation in PATVDH? Actually, we just think about the benefits, right? For example, small garlic. If some people like, or they can take garlic also. It's enough for him. A piece of onion also enough for him for one meal, right? Similarly, garbage or watercress, a thread of watercress. It can be any kind of donation in a small amount. As long as it's beneficial or useful for the receiver, we can offer. The main thing is when we offer, it must be beneficial or useful for receiver. This is the main point. So sometimes, although they offer a lot, not that much useful, wasting. Also wasting money, wasting donation. That's why we don't recommend unnecessary donation. So mostly when we have very strong faith, but lack of wisdom, we may offer many unnecessary things, unimportant things, right? Useless things also there. So when we have saddha and panya, if we can balance these two, we may offer only necessary things to the receiver who need it. So in this case, we must balance these two, saddha and panya. Okay. If the faith is so powerful, the meditator should not develop effort. Should develop effort in other enlightenment factors instead of developing faith. So that means sometimes we have very strong faith. At the time, we should not develop our faith. We should develop other factors. Now we are talking about Dhammavicaya, right? We also develop Dhammavicaya Sambhojjhanga in order to balance faith with panya. Then, if wisdom is weak, the meditator will not investigate how to improve and will have unclear vision. So that means sometimes our wisdom is weak, we don't know what's our weakness. Sometimes even very subtle things can hinder our improvement. We must be very careful. Okay, so that is why when we are going to practice, we must investigate properly. For example, what I need to do now? You have a lot of thoughts. Okay, when we have a lot of thoughts, we have to check because of strong efforts or because of weak efforts. If we have very strong efforts, we may have thoughts knowingly. If we have very weak efforts, we may have thoughts unknowingly. So not only that, actually, if we don't have enough wisdom, then we may not have clear vision. Then we will be inactive, unmindful, untranquil, unconcentrated. Also, we will not be equanimous toward other objects. There are many objects arising together. We just go to many different objects. We don't have equanimity towards other objects, which means the 7 element factors will not be balanced. Then again, there are many stories to explain, such as the story of Saccaka, Arita bhikkhus, and the story of men who did not show respect to the Buddha, thinking that mental respect is more important than bodily and verbal respect. This is just explanation. Right? That's why, actually, Okay, I should say only one story because we have time's up already, right? For example, Satyaka Paribhajaka. He came and debated with the Buddha about anatta, non-self. He was defeated by the Buddha. And he was very arrogant and stubborn. Even he didn't accept his failure. Not only that, after that kind of conversations, in many other suttas, they may ask for refuse from the Buddha, right? Whenever Blessed One, please accept me as your disciples, your students. They may have that kind of declaration, that kind of request from the Buddha. But in the case of Satyaka, although he was defeated, he also liked the perceptions of anatta, non-self. But he didn't take refuge. He didn't take refuge to triple gems because of arrogance. So then he has very strong wisdom, at the same time very strong mana, pride, or arrogance, that he cannot improve his life. Whole life is the same. Right? Even he cannot meditate. So that's why if somebody has very strong wisdom, then lack of faith, then they cannot improve. Okay, for about Arita, it will be too long, right? And I cannot explain today. So the main thing is, today I can talk about only the faith, right? There are many other factors. Maybe tomorrow I have to continue. Okay, so now briefly, when we say balancing, controlling faculties, we have two different pairs. One is Saddha and Panya, faith and wisdom. If we can balance these two, we can improve. Another pairs, concentration and effort. If we can balance these two, we can also improve. Even yesterday, I have said, the mindfulness is a key player in any conditions. Always need it. So we must be aware of our conditions. Why I cannot improve? Faith is strong, wisdom is weak. We must know. We must be aware of it. Similarly, sometimes concentration and efforts, which one is stronger? We must be aware of it. If we are aware of it, we can improve. So as I said yesterday, sati is necessary everywhere in any conditions. So now, for the case of Dhammavichaya also, I haven't finished Dhammavichaya, right? So now so far I have already finished some part. That means we must ask proper question in the proper conditions for our improvement. This is also important for Dhammavichaya. Another part, we must clean our body, our environment. This is also important. The third one, we must balance controlling faculties. If we can balance, we can also develop the enlightenment factor of the investigation. Okay, so may all be able to practice the three trainings, and as a result of it, may you all be able to achieve the higher attainments, path and fruition knowledge, and cessation of suffering. Okay. Okay, then we can start Q&A session. Some question on the chat. Okay.
Thank you, Bande. I have a question after just learning so far. It seems that one needs a lot of self-awareness to know that which part you're missing or how you're imbalanced in order to progress. Without the self-awareness, you can't even improve. So what do you recommend for lay people in our daily life? How should we like self-examine? Like how should we approach this and keep examining? Are we in an imbalanced situation? Should I learn more at this stage, or should I practice meditation more at this stage? How should I evaluate that in life?
Okay. So if you can improve your meditations, you don't need to analyze too much. If you cannot improve, you must know, you must check, you must investigate what are the hindrances. What kind of things hinder your improvement, right? So if we can know the real reasons of hindrance, then we can also overcome it. We can also overcome our difficulties. Okay. So when we talk about wisdom, so there are many different ways of approach. I will approach one sutta, for example, right? In this sutta I mentioned, when we talk about Panya Sambhada, the achievement of wisdom, that means we must know the hindrances. For example, if we have very strong lobha or greed or attachment or craving for something, we may do something improper. It becomes hindrances for our improvement. So similarly, in the case of meditations, sometimes we have a lot of greed, a lot of expectation, that it will cause our improvements slower. But we must remember what is real hindrances in our practice. Sometimes we are in a hurry, right? Then that's why our improvement becomes slower. We must also know what's the really problem of this. So, okay, if I summarize, as long as you can improve normally, you don't need to think about what's the hindrances or what's the problem. But when you have some difficulties, if you cannot improve anymore, then you must check what's hindrances. Mostly, we call embodied nikanti, especially when you have too much comfort. For example, you may have very strong rapture, bliss, tranquility, pleasure, pleasant feeling in your body. Then your mind will incline to it. You may have attachment to it. You cannot improve. Right? We call nikanti, attachment to good experiences. This is also one of the side effects of meditation. Another thing is a lot of complaining. For example, you cannot focus very well. You will complain too much to yourself. This is also called dosa. You cannot improve, right? So that means when you have a lot of difficulty, check lobha or dosa. Mostly these two are main points. Another thing is like a mana, arrogance. You cannot give up something. You are grasping something, you cannot give up, right? So in this case also, you cannot improve anymore. So you have to check what are really hindering your improvement. If you can know real reasons of the difficulty or an improvement, you can solve this problem. Okay. So briefly, you must know many types of defilements and the way they are working. If we have learned all the things, then later you will be able to check properly. Okay. You also need learning knowledge. You also need experiences. Any other thing?
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
I just have one question about the practice. If I have allergies and I wear the mask, will the mask disturb my concentration? Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so if you wear the mask, can you keep knowing breathing? If you can keep knowing breathing, it doesn't matter. You cannot say it's a disturbance. Okay. Then the next one.
Dạ con kính đảnh lễ Ngài. Dạ con kính chào sư phụ. Dạ hôm qua Ngài có giảng về dễ vui á sư phụ. Dạ con muốn biết là nếu một người hành giả trong khóa thiền thì như thế nào gọi là dễ vui. Dạ con cảm ơn sư phụ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. We can say diligent. Okay. If we say diligent, there are many parts, right? For example, you may have consistent efforts. This also can be considered as diligent. Another thing is we have a mental efforts or bodily efforts. We can say kayika viriya, that means mental energy or mental efforts. Sorry, body energy or body efforts. Chitasika viriya or manasika viriya, that means mental effort or mental energy. So that means as long as you are using your efforts, mental energy or body energy properly, that means you have right efforts. Sometimes you use too much mind power, that means you have excessive efforts. In this case, you will get tired very easily. You cannot improve easily also. At the same time, you may also use very strong body energy. If you use too much bodily energy also, you may get very tired. You may feel tense in your body, something discomfort in your body. So that's why you must have natural efforts. We can say right efforts, right? This is called, another thing, you must also have consistent efforts. This is called diligence, okay?
Dạ con cảm ơn Ngài. Dạ con có thêm một câu hỏi nữa. Khi mà mình niệm hơi thở á, thì mình chỉ chú ý tới hơi thở thôi. Vậy khi mà cái tâm bất thiện mình nó khởi lên đó, thì mình có quán cái tâm bất thiện để mình biết cái tâm bất thiện đó là như thế nào để mà mình diệt nó đó. Dạ, khi mà mình ngồi thì con muốn hiểu là tâm bất thiện nó mình lên đó mình có quán nó không? Hay là mình mọi lúc một nơi mình chỉ chú ý đến hơi thở thôi, còn tâm bất thiện nó khởi lên thì mình không có cần biết và quán chiếu nó. Dạ con cảm ơn sư phụ.
Okay, so it depends on what kind of agusala mind, right? For example, short-term agusala mind, don't think about it. Just focus on the breath simply and naturally. Don't follow anything, right? Sometimes you may have many unwholesome thoughts a whole day, for example. When you have this kind of case, you have to change other objects for a while. For example, particular body parts, also reverse meditations, right? Visualizing cause or anything, right? Also, if you have a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, a lot of aversion, a lot of ill will, you can also do metta, karuna, mudita, or any other meditation subject for a while, then come back to the breathing, right? So it depends on what kind of defilements you have, what kind of agusala you have. There can be different solution, okay?
Dạ con cảm ơn Ngài.
And any other question? I think some question in the chat box. Okay, there's some question in the chat box. Some question in the chat box. No more question?
Hỏi ạ. Dạ, sư phụ dịch giùm con là Đức Phật dạy là vô thường, khổ, vô ngã. Dạ thì con hiểu vô thường, con hiểu khổ. Mà đến khi mà vô ngã thì con lại ít có tin đó. Dạ cho nên con nhờ sư phụ hỏi ngài để chỉ cho thêm con để con có niềm tin vô là có vô ngã đó. Dạ cảm ơn sư phụ.
Actually, in the case of anatta, okay, that means, okay, we should say very simple thing now, right? This body is not under our control, right? You wish to be healthy. You try many different ways to be healthy, but there are many sickness in this body. Okay, so that means the body, or all the mentalities are not under our control. This is called anatta. This is also one of the case, right? Okay, another one. Now your mind, not under your control. That's why when you're trying to know the breathing, it will run away here and there. Right? This is very clear, right? The anatta, just for easier understanding. In the real meaning of anatta in Vipassana, it will be a little bit deeper. For example, I should say very easy example now for Vipassana. This body is made of small particles. It also rapidly rises in vibration. Now also, in every single particles, there are many different materials. They also rise in vibration. They are also not under our control. If we analyze, we don't have any everlasting entity in these particles. Then we can also understand as anatta. Okay, we don't have everlasting entity. That's why we can say this is also anatta. We can also say another way. This does not belong to us. It's just happening naturally. This is the one thing. Sami, right? Karaka. Who is doing? Who is making this body? We cannot say clearly because small particles, there are many different reasons, many different causes. No creator, no doer of this kind of particles. Okay? They are arising naturally, caused by some conditions. We cannot say which one is it, except cause. Maybe, for example, in the case of Kamacha Rupa, sure, they are produced by Kama. In the case of mind produced materiality, it's produced by minds. Temperature produced materiality is produced by temperature. Nutriment produced materiality will be produced by nutriment. So there are many different reasons, many different causes. There are also many other supporting causes or arising. Okay, that is why there are causes arising and vibration not under our control. That's why we can say it's anatta. Okay, so it will be very deep meaning because we have many other explanations. Not that easy for beginner to explain all the things. Okay, next one.
Thank you.
Mm.
Can I ask one more question? Dạ, cho con hỏi một câu hỏi nữa là hồi nãy ngài nói về kinh tứ niệm xứ á, thì con có thắc mắc là mình cái đạo Phật mình thì nói là mình có 84.000 pháp uẩn, và trong kinh tứ niệm xứ thì nói là đây là con đường duy nhất, cho nên con không có hiểu là vậy thì mấy cái pháp 48 ngoài cái tứ niệm xứ ra còn mấy cái pháp uẩn kia thì họ mấy cái pháp uẩn kia nó có dẫn được đến con đường giải thoát không, hay là chỉ có tứ niệm xứ mới dẫn đến giải thoát? Dạ con cảm ơn sư phụ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, it depends on how you understand Ekayano, right? Okay. Okay, let me check. I have some note about Ekayana. It will be easier for you, right? Because actually there are some misunderstanding about Ekayana. Okay, Ekayana house we have Eka Ayana and many other things. Okay, let me show you. After that, I will share the slide, right? Or I will share the screen. Actually, many people misunderstand Ekayana. I also understand why they have this kind of perceptions. Okay, I found. I will share the screen, right? Okay, wait for a while. Now you can see, right? Ekayana, the only way. Okay. Ekena ayitabo, the first definition, right? Ekena ayitabo. Okay, I should write down, I should type number also now here. Okay. Ekena ayitabo, you can go there alone without any defilements or company. Craving is also called company, according to Buddha teaching. So that means you can go alone. You cannot bring anybody to Nibbana, right? So you cannot bring defilements to the Nibbana. That's why we can say Ekayana. This is one thing. Okay, we have number 2. Ayitabo, right? Patipatitabo, ayanti wa itinati the ayano. By this path, okay, you can go from round or reverse to Nibbana. That's what we call Ekayana. This is one thing. Another meaning. Okay, now 3. Ekasa ayano. This is the path used by the foremost one, the Buddha. Right? That's what we call Ekayana. Another one, the last one. Ekasame ayano. So there's the path only in this Buddha teaching, only in Dhamma Vinaya you can find. This one is called Ekayana. You be careful, right? Ekayana is not as you think. It's not that simple. Many people translate as the only way. That's why you misunderstand. Okay? This is the meaning of Ekayana. Eka ayana, right? The only way. So that means this way, this is the only path we can find in Buddha teaching. We cannot find in any other teaching. Okay? We can understand like that. Okay?
Can I ask one more question? Dạ, cho con hỏi thêm câu hỏi nữa là hình như câu hỏi này hơi sớm nhưng mà con muốn biết là khi mà mình niệm thở là mình trong một cái quán thân, vậy là tới chỗ nào là mình là đi tới quán tâm và quán pháp? Dạ, con cảm ơn sư phụ.
Actually, it will be very messy to explain now. Okay, for example, Venanupassana, right? Although we say Venanupassana, Vedana alone cannot arise. It will arise together with other mentalities. So we also have to know as a group. Now we also have to know their arising and perishing as a process. Similarly, Chittanupassana. Chitta, consciousness or mind alone cannot arise. It will arise together with mental factors. So we have to know as a group or as a process. We must understand as a nature to connect there. In the case of Dhamma, actually we have a different angle of Dhamma. For example, when you go and read Samatha-Vipassanā Sutta, we have 5 brigade methods. Khanda Papa. We also have Arana Papa. We also have Satya Papa, right? Many different chapters. So according to all these chapters, we have to follow, we have to practice. You can say Dhammanupassana, right? So it depends on what chapter you are practicing. I have already said, Bojjhanga Papa, Nirvana Papa, these 2 chapters are not for beginners. Okay.
Cho con hỏi là nếu mà mình niệm thọ, mình niệm hơi thở, rồi mình có thấy được cái tâm của mình không? Dạ.
Actually, we don't recommend to see the mind or to see other things, right? When you are practicing anapanasati, it should be very simple. Just keep knowing, breathing. Don't follow any other phenomena or any other characteristics or any other appearance, shape, color, or any experiences, pleasant or unpleasant. Just keep knowing, breathing simply. It will be easier for you to improve.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cảm ơn sư phụ.
Any more questions? Settle, can we read the question from the chat group?
Okay.
Okay. First question, Wandami Seado. Please, Seado, advise, is it true if somebody in his life, his body part, example, hair part, become relic, is he an arahant? And when the people die and after cremation, there are relics, is it can be believed he is an arahant too? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. So fortunately, I was born in Buddhist country, right? Actually, you know, this very common questions everywhere. Because in Myanmar, we know many different the folk relics. Okay, for example, somebody passed away, especially some people pass away, for example, right? Then their devotees wish to make their teacher as the arhat. They put some chemical into their body. Then when they burn the body, it become relics. Okay, this is one of the things. Okay, very easier one is we have gas lighter. I think you may have this kind of gas lighter in US also, right? In the gas lighter, above the gas, there's a small stones, like iron, right? You know, if we put many stones into the body and burn, it will change the relics. And this is what we know in Myanmar. Okay, so that's why sometimes if we say arhat or relics, we also have to consider is it human-made relics or real relics, because not many people are cheating, right? So for about hair, actually, this also some product of this hair relics, right? For example, like a hair chain like a ball or something, right? They also say if the chain like this is an arhat or something, but this also not really 100% correct. Maybe there are some tricks to do this kind of things. Okay, so in our modern society, if somebody declare or some of their disciples declare that their teachers are arhat, then it's not for good reputation. Especially in Pao we don't recommend to do this kind of things, right? If somebody passed away, we don't recommend his arhat or sotapanna or anything. We don't encourage anybody to announce, right? Okay, the main thing is, although people say somebody is arhat, we must consider how is his lifestyle. Okay, as previous question, right? The first day question. Arhat, but with bank accounts, how can we believe, right? Similarly, arhat with ATM cards, we cannot believe, right? So even he's not an anagami, this kind of things also can happen. That's why when we hear somebody is arhat, we have to check his lifestyle, how he survived, how he lived in early life. Okay, next one.
Thank you, Seado. Next question, Wandami Seado. How do we go about to determine what is beneficial and suitable dharma? And Seado shares some examples of beneficial and non-beneficial dharma. And further to this question, will the donors receive same merits? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, good question, right? So that means now many of meditators are here as donors, right? That actually this question is useful for all the people. Okay, I will give one example. For example, there is a one bhikkhu, he cannot read Pali, but you offer Tipitaka for this kind of bhikkhu. It's unbeneficial, right? He cannot read Tipitaka, just wasting your money. Okay, we have another example. You may bring Tipitaka to PATVDH. You may offer in the library or somewhere. Right? There are many people we can read Tipitaka. In this kind of case, we can say useful dana. Okay, now another example. Then you may offer very big amount of foods for one bhikkhu. Okay, for example, you may put instant noodle, very big fruits like papaya, also mango, maybe pineapple, banana, right? A branch of banana, for example, you offer to one bhikkhu. After accepting, he must eat it before midday, before the noon. So after that, he must relinquish to his kapiya or samina or anybody. If kapiya are smart, or if his assistant are smart, sure, they will keep for tomorrow. It's okay, no really good problem. But it must be not Bhikkhu's arrangement. Right? Bhikkhu cannot arrange. We keep it for tomorrow. Bhikkhu cannot say like that. But devotee, kapiya may arrange properly. For example, right? Okay. In this case, when you are going to offer a very big amount of food to one bhikkhu, you must also check his assistance, his kapiya, is it smart or not? If he's a smart, sure, if he will arrange properly, your material are not wasting. Otherwise, it's wasting. Okay? So the main thing is, it depends on the community you live. You must check it will be useful for receiver or not. This is the one thing. And sometimes, for example, many people offer me many different medicines. I cannot take also. Right? Sometimes when I see the doctor, for example, when I was in Singapore, I go and see the doctor. I show my medicine. I also ask his recommendation, and he also recommend to do. For example, I dare take. Right? But sometimes I'm not expert in medicine, so I have to discover somebody who is expert in medicine. Right? Anyway, okay. For example, if you are a pharmacy or a medical doctor, then you can recommend, you can prescribe medicine to somebody. Then it will be useful for him, right? Sometimes 2-3 doctors recommend 2-3 different, right, medicines. It was fine, right? So that means, although we know something, we must consider for the benefit of receiver. If somebody is caring the bhikkhu, for example, right? Then you should consider you should do or not. Okay, the main point is, I will give another example, right? Also, one lady from Vietnam, I told this story in Vietnam also, right? One lady, she showed me her small finger. She cut small finger already, right? She shot for one, then she also told me, I offer my small finger to the Buddha. She said this kind of thing to me. I just asked very simple question. What the Buddha will do with this small finger? Right? The Buddha cannot eat. Also not that much useful. Why she cut and offer to the Buddha? Right? So that kind of thing is called unbeneficial. Not that much useful for receiver. So, okay. Another thing, the second question, right? If we offer unbeneficial things, unbeneficial dana to the receiver, also mention the same merit, right? He also asked this kind of question. Okay. We have two different things, dana and dana parami. So when we are going to do dana parami, we must think about the benefit of or the welfare of receiver. If something useful for receiver, we can say we are doing dana parami. We just offer what we need, what we wish to offer. In this case, we don't say dana parami. Okay, so in this case, if you offer unbeneficial things to receiver, it can be dana, but not dana parami. If you offer only beneficial material for receiver, it's a dana parami. It's also called dana. Two different quality. Okay, the next one.
Okay, the next question is a Vietnamese question. Could Pandit Para help to translate?
Okay. So when you are in your daily life, not that easy to improve, but actually anyway, you can maintain your concentration. For example, twice a day, you may meditate. When you can maintain this kind of habit, the next time when you join meditation retreat, you can improve faster. This is also one of the way, right? But in daily life, you may have many other things. You have to be busy with this and that and many other activities. Then we cannot expect to improve easily. But anyway, you can maintain. Is it good enough? Next one.
Next question.
笔记夏多，请问夏多，5根中是练根越强越好吗？萨多萨多萨多。
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. We cannot say the stronger the better, right? So that means it's always needed. We cannot say strong or weak, right? So mindfulness is always necessary. That's why we cannot say strong or weak. Of course, when it's very weak, it's very clear, right? We cannot say the stronger the better. We cannot say like that. That means more consistent awareness. The more you have consistent awareness, the better for you. We can say like that. Okay, next one.
礼敬尊者，刚才您有提到要问和修习有关的问题，不问于理论的问题怎么理解？可以举例子吗？感恩尊者，萨度萨度萨度。
Mm. 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 Actually, okay. For example, I have many meditation experience, many retreats. Okay, one case happened in USA also, in Orange County. I've been to one Vietnamese temple. I also conduct retreats there, right? But in the very beginning, they asked many questions. You know, some of the questions are very deep. Of course, I can answer because I have learned Vidama, right? But many of people complain. We don't understand how you get this kind of questions, right? So then you also have to think about all the listeners' conditions, right? It must be beneficial for all the listeners. That is why I don't recommend to ask many Abhidhamma questions. For example, right? Mental process. It's not practical for all the meditators here. You may think about like death and life, new life, all kind of theory, right? It just for knowledge, not practical for all the meditators here, right? So that is why, how you say Dhammavicaya Sambhojjhanga in the very beginning. When you are practicing Anapanasati, okay, ask about meditation. It's more beneficial for all listeners, right? That is why theory, sometimes some theory are very confusable. It will make people confused. That's why I don't recommend to ask this kind of question. Okay? And this one?
Sador, now
笔记
7
夏
minutes
多，
plus
菩萨曾经
8:30.
燃头供佛吗？
Okay,
萨
okay
度
now.
萨度萨度。
Bodhisattva? Bodhisattva? No, we don't have this kind of things. It's useless, right? You know, he may not do useless thing like that. Okay, this one?
Okay, there's another question. Question 7. Sador, is donating meditator mind and body to the teacher or Buddha a suitable practice? If suitable, please explain the reason.
Okay, so that kind of thing is actually suitable. For example, okay, I will just give one example offering to the Buddha, right? Sometimes you may have a little bit scared mind or some fear in your mind. You just offer your body to the Buddha, right? This is not your body anymore. You may feel a little bit safe. That's why this kind of practice is actually suitable. In the Buddhist Dhamma also it explains, right? Is it recommendable to offer? Okay. Another one.
Okay, one last question, Sador. This is in Vietnamese.
Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Okay, so now when you are practicing anapanasati, don't think about elements or any other characteristics too much. If you think about it, you will get lost also, right? So when you are practicing 4 elements and rupa meditations, then you can do that one later. At the time, although you're gonna descend the first kalapas, you may be able to descend the second kalapas, something like that, right? So actually, there are many different ways or approach to material discernment. Okay, this one.
So there's no more question.
Okay. Share the merit, right? Idawadaja amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idhame nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyatayo idhame nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyatayo idhame nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyatayo idhame punyam asawakaya vaham hotu idhame punyam nibbanasa bhajayo hotu mama punya bhagam sabba sadanam bhajemi te sabbe me samam punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Seattle, and everyone for your time and participation. Till we meet the next session, may all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.